Today I'm going to start setting our cole crops out into the garden. Cole crops include plants in the brassica family. These are broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, bok choy, and Brussels sprouts. These are cool season vegetables, meaning that they're really tolerant of cold weather. Unfortunately though, cole crops do not tolerate heat very well, and so we need to get them in the garden very early in the season. When the temperatures reach 80 or 85 degrees, the quality of the vegetable declines, and we also develop harsh flavors. So there's a couple of ways to beat the hot weather. One of these is to get your plants in early in March. The second thing is to select cultivars that will mature very quickly. For example, the Desico broccoli or Red Express cabbage or the Nico bok choy. I'm going to be planting broccoli, cabbage, and bok choy today. And for those of you who aren't familiar with bok choy, it's a Chinese cabbage and it's really wonderful in stir fries. In our intensive bed garden, our cole crops are all set on 18-inch circles. And so I'm starting my first row in 9 inches from the edge. When you remove your plants from their containers, you want to be real careful not to pull up on the stems because that could damage it. Try to squeeze the bottom and loosen it and just slide your plants out. Okay, so my first plant is going to be set in 9 inches from the edge of the bed, from each edge. And if you recall, with the circle center spacing, we're giving each plant an 18-inch circle to grow, just enough space to produce very well. In this row, I'm going to have another plant that's 9 inches from the other edge. But if you recall, with this bed system, we can reach about halfway across, so we're going to work from each side. So I'm going to go ahead and get this side in and the center plants. Now our next row, even to give this plant 18 inches, we don't need to set our next row 18 inches down. If you use the math, it's actually only 10.5 inches. And one thing I like to do is bring my planting plan out into the garden with me, and on it shows me how far apart the rows need to be for these different types of spacing. It's just really handy to have out in the field when you're working. Okay, so the next row is going to be 10 inches. It's actually about 10.5 inches, and this plant is set at the center. It's going to be at 24 inches. And again, try to push your plants out from the bottom. If it's tight, you can loosen it up a little bit. These are nice and loose, so I'm just going to go ahead and set that in. Okay. Now when we plant our cole crops, we have to protect them from cutworms. Cutworms are the larvae of a moth, and they live in the soil. They hide during the day, and at night they'll come out and they'll chew a plant off right through its stem at the soil surface. And it's not uncommon to come out and find all of your cole crops destroyed overnight. So we really want to make sure that we take these critters seriously and we take some measures to protect our plants from them. And there's a few ways that we could do that. One of these is to create a collar around the base of the plant. And you could do this by using paper cups. Take your paper cup and cut the bottom off. And we're going to have a little collar that we put around the plant. You can also save up toilet paper tubes or paper towel tubes and cut those into 3 to 4 inch sections. Another cup we have these compostable cups. So we haven't experimented with them yet to see how long they take to degrade, but they're made from 100% corn, so we'll have to try that and see. I like using the paper towel tubes and the toilet paper tubes, but you do have to be careful when you put your plant inside. Try not to damage the leaves and make sure that you have it all the way over the plant, and then just wiggle it down into the soil. If you've taken the time to loosen your soil, it should go in fairly easily, and maybe just keep turning it real slow till you get it down in there. Maybe pull the leaves up out the top. We want our tubes to be set halfway in the soil. So we should have about 1.5 inches below and 1.5 inches above the soil. And the reason for that is the insect feeds right at the soil level, and this will prevent it from feeding just under or just above the soil level. Another way that we could fight these nasty cutworms is to just use a stick or a straw and place it next to the stem of the plant. We're just going to slide it right in along the stem, and this seems kind of odd way to protect our plants, but when the cutworm feeds, it actually wraps its body around the stem, and just the presence of this stick deters it from feeding there. And you want your stick to be, again, about the size of a pencil and about 3 to 4 inches. Make sure that it extends below and right up next to that plant. The other thing we want to do is mulch around our plants, and actually with this mounded row system, it's a really great idea to always keep your soil covered with a mulch or a cover crop. Certain plants we don't mulch, like lettuce, they just don't really like it very much. It tends to cause some problems. I'm going to use a straw mulch because we get some pretty hot days here in Oklahoma, even though it's only March. And this will help keep the soil cool. Remember, this is a cool season crop, and it likes those cool temperatures, so we don't want the soil to get too hot for our plants. I'm also going to plant our cole crops out. I'm going to stagger the plantings and only plant half of them now, and then another half in a couple of weeks. And what that'll do is extend the harvest season, so they're not all maturing and ripening at the same time. For more information on how to plant cole crops, you can look to OSU Fact Sheet 6017, Growing Broccoli, Cabbage, and Cauliflower.